People think that your issue is just who you are, but they don't understand that you're hemorrhaging and you're bleeding because of what happened to you in the past. And many of us are still dealing with old issues. Every time we come into contact with somebody, we leave a stain on that other person because of what we're dealing with. And I came to tell you that the church is full of well-dressed bleeding folk. You got your clothes on, you got the latest outfit, but there's still a whole lot of blood. The challenge with bleeding people is that bleeding people prefer to be around other bleeding people. And many times when you're bloody, you want to make other people bloody, so you'll cut somebody else because you want them to look like you look. And part of our anger and frustration is that we've never dealt with the issues from early in our life. Therefore, we want to cut somebody else in our adulthood so they can look like us because we don't want to bleed all by ourselves. This woman had an issue of blood. She'd been bleeding all her life. And truth be told, we try to act as if we don't have any issues and we're not bleeding. And that's why we cuss everybody out. Because we're bleeding. Y'all ain't gonna help me now. That's why we're so quick to get angry at folk, because we're bleeding. That's why we keep playing stuff in our head that folk who have already died said to us when we were younger, because we keep on bleeding. Oh my God. That's why we refuse to live out our dreams and take hold of our destiny. It's the blood loss that's in our life. And when you lose blood, losing your life force, you're not at your best. And we need to find some kind of way where we can stop the bleeding. Bleeding Christians are the worst people to deal with because they always want to stain somebody else. They want to take a little bit of the blood from themselves and place it on you. And this woman had an issue of blood, but I like this woman. I like this woman because if you want to stop the bleeding in your life, this sister right here gives us some information as to how to do it. If you want to clot what you've been losing, this woman gives us some information how to handle the bleeding. And that's what I like about this woman, because at some point in time, you must come out of the shadows and take a hold of your healing. You've got to take it into your own hands. At some point, you must leave the shadows and say, if I'm going to make it, I've got to take my healing and my destiny into my own hand. I know I've been bleeding. I know I got some issues, but I've got to make a radical decision to take hold of my destiny. There must be a decision that you don't want to live like you've been living. You may have been violated, but you've got to determine by way of self-determination that I'm going to take my own life in my hands by the help of Almighty God. You've got to make a decision to take hold of your healing. No one is going to do it until you make the decision. Guess what? I don't belong in the shadows anymore.